Hi, I'm Rob Ricker with AS5300.com, and I am here today to tell you a little bit about differences in the power supplies that you use in Cisco's AS5 series. Now what I'm talking about is the Cisco AS5300, which looks like this, as well as the AS5400 line, including the AS5400 HPX and XM. They all look like this. The insides look a little different, but in terms of the dimensions, they're the same. And then the AS5350, which is about half the size of this. Now, these are examples of the power supplies that you would install. And unlike some other Cisco routers, the power supplies are not modular, so you can't just slide them in and out. You actually have to do some disassembly and reassembly. And Cisco has an on-site guide for doing that, so you might want to refer to that. But here you can see what the differences are. These are the basic examples of the AS5300 and AS5400 line of power supplies. You can see they are both AC and DC and single and dual or RPS power supplies. If you look, this single power supply here, the single AC, is really only for the AS5300. If you try to use a single AC power supply in any of the 5400s, it'll give you an error message. It'll work, but you shouldn't do it. So really you're talking about using the dual DC or AC power supplies. And there are really two varieties of these. There's one that's just purely rectangular like this. And the example that I have here you can see is the dual DC, but there's an AC version that looks just like it, just like the front of this. And it's completely rectangular. This is the older version. It's really for the AS5300, and you could use it in the AS5400 and the AS5400 HPX, which is a zoomed up version of the 5400. But late in the production of the AS5400 HPX, which is again the faster version of the AS5400, Cisco started making this new version, which is this notched version. It's sometimes referred to as the Series 2 or Salsa 2 version. And this notch is the distinguishing characteristic. It's used in the HPX and is really required for the AS5400 XM. That's the currently released version of the AS5400. And there's both an AC and DC version for this as well. All of these require disassembly of the AS5300 or AS5400, and you can see that there's some wires here that have to be unattached and reattached that connect not only to the main board but to the fans as well. The AS5350 is very similar, except that all the power supplies are interchangeable. So the main lines of the AS5350 are the AS5350 and AS5350 XM. And everything can be used in both. If you look at this power supply, this is just a standard single AC power supply. Again, partial disassembly and reassembly is required. Here is a single DC power supply. It does have dual input, so you could have different inputs going into it, but there's just one set of circuitry inside. And here you see a dual AC. They're cramming a lot of circuitry into a small space here, and so these things do have a little higher tendency to fail. So if you're looking for dual power, you might want to think about the 5400 line as opposed to the 5350, but this is available, and you'll notice that it has a different kind of plug input for the 5350 XM. All these do require, as I say, some specialized disassembly and reassembly work, and can be used in the different 5350 and 5400s as I've described. If you have any questions, come visit us at AS5300.com. We are specialists in access servers and we'll be glad to help you out. That's all.